What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to talk about the 10 predictions for labor in 2024 article that came out in the magazine In These Times on December 19th, 2023. It's by Hamilton Nolan. We're going to dive into this article predicting what's in store for labor in 2024. But before we do that, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the videos, drop some comments, let me know what direction the next video you want to see is, which way you want to go with it, and we'll see if we can produce some content that you're looking for. Other than that, we're going to keep on producing content regarding labor and how we can strengthen it, because that's really what this is all about. It's the Union Minded channel, and it's a channel for working people to be able to discuss labor happenings and what goes on. So help grow the channel, share the videos, and we can help fulfill that mission of each one teach one. That aside, let's dive right on in. 10 predictions for labor in 2024. Number 1, the momentum continues. The popularity of unions today is at a multi-generational high. Organized labor is getting more media attention than it has in decades. The mass disgruntlement created by the pandemic and the structural inequality that has swallowed America over the past 40 years have created this widespread desire for the benefits that unions offer. That is not going to change, at least not for the next 12 months. So the union establishment will get a little while longer to try to take advantage of it. I agree with that prediction. I think the momentum will continue. Income inequality is at an all-time high. Union approval rates are at an all-time high. We haven't seen these levels of approval rates in 70 years or longer. And here we are with unions at between a 70 and 80% approval rate in the general public. However, union density right now is only 10%, and it hasn't grown at the rate of union popularity. Now, there have been organizing campaigns, but union busting continues to be a very big problem because corporations spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to defeat organizing campaigns that would unionize. You could look at Starbucks, you could look at the Amazon labor union, and more than that. So it's very hard once you organize your workers to want a union to get that company to negotiate a fair contract and actually have a union contract. So it's always difficult. It's going to continue to be difficult. Number 2, union density does not turn around. For all of the attention that individual strikes and high-profile organizing campaigns get, the single most important metric of union power in America, union density, has continued to lag, despite all of labor's popularity. The institutions of organized labor still have not figured out how to rouse themselves to pursue new organizing on a large scale. I am sadly pessimistic that this will be the year. that changes. Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. I hope that labor can prove him wrong. It's going to take all of us. Organizing is more than just leaving it to the officers of the local and the business agents and the organizers to go out there and organize an entire jurisdiction. It really takes an involved and motivated and directed rank and file membership to really help grow organizing efforts. It takes using multiple tactics, aggressive tactics to organize workers, because there's constant negative misinformation that they receive all the time from management, from training sessions. Unions are bad. They get all kinds of lies and misrepresentations, and so it really does take everybody. It's going to be more than a flyer. It takes a lot of work to organize. And so will we utilize everybody in the next year? I don't know. We'll see. There's been a lot of popularity. It's been a lot of labor leaders of the new school that have shown ways of victory using old tactics. Will legacy unions pick up on that trend? I don't know. Number 3, the energetic unions get more independent. For the past year or so, Bernie Sanders has held a series of rallies featuring Teamsters President Sean O'Brien and Association of Flight Attendants leader Sarah Nelson. in an effort to heighten the public profile of unions. Most recently, United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain joined those two in testimony to Sanders' Senate committee. What we are seeing is that the leaders of unions who do want to organize, agitate, and generally stoke the class war in public are rising in prominence, as their more staid peers recede into the background. Expect to see more of this, and to see this group of leaders grow. If institutions like the AFL-CIO will not rise to the occasion right now, the impatient unions led by true believers will. That's interesting. I don't know if anybody's going to make the adjustments. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. We have people that have been in office for 20, 30, 35 years who have learned the way of running things that they've always known, and it's hard to change those habits. It's hard to adapt to a new world. You see it in the differences between generations. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Generation X and how generally that generation views millennials and Generation Z. It's just hard to adapt to a new environment. So I could see the energetic unions that do adapt and do go to the old school tactics and do change the way they behave getting more popular. Number 4, the UAW leads the movement. No union had a more inspiring 2023 than the UAW. In March, Shawn Fain was elected president after a successful internal democratic reform movement. He proceeded to lead a historically ambitious strike against all the big three automakers at once, which the UAW won. Then he called on all the nation's unions to build up to a general strike in 2028. And announced a grand plan to organize 150,000 new workers at every non-union auto company in the country. In 9 months, the UAW checked off basically the entire things union need to do list. Great stuff, A+. Much hard work lies ahead, of course, but the UAW's energy deserves applause. If that inspires jealousy in other big unions, well, that's good. Again, you hear me talk about the UAW and these new school leaders often because they're inspiring, and what they're doing is important because it's raising awareness and raising wages for every worker in their unions, and also the non-union, because the other auto plants that, you know, the Toyotas and of the world, gave raises to their workers to help to avoid them wanting to join the union. So you see how that works. Employers don't want their employees to unionize because it levels the playing field, and then they have to share more of the profits with the workers. Oh my God, that would be so bad. Number 5, more internal reform movements. The UAW is living proof of what is possible when reformers win. One member, one vote provisions and kick out entrenched bureaucracies at the top of major unions. But only 6 of the nation's 20 biggest unions have that basic democratic voting structure. As a matter of basic fairness, every union should reform itself in the direction of one member, one vote. But as a matter of reality, reformers will have to win that measure in tedious fights. Reformers at the United Food and Commercial Workers and other big unions are already on that path. Change is coming, slowly. I am a proponent for one member, one vote. I think it's the fairest way to have a labor organization. And I think it's the only way you're going to get real representation, because it provides every member with a chance to choose. But that's just me. Number 6, the NLRB gets extra frantic. The brightest spot in the Biden administration's labor agenda has been the NLRB, where General Counsel Jennifer Abruzzo has pushed as hard as possible to reform America's anti-worker labor regulations back in workers' favor. Now we're entering what may be her last year in office. Expect to see her push to rewrite bad rules and to hold intransigent companies like Starbucks and Amazon legally responsible for labor law violations, if such a thing is possible. I'm also a big fan of the NLRB and how they have conducted themselves under Biden's presidency. It's been a refreshing change. It's because of that I think we have a rare opportunity as labor organizations to be very aggressive, because unfair labor practices can be filed to the NLRB, and the way things have been going, they'll actually listen and enact penalties. And I think that's a good thing because, again, it helps level the playing field. All right, number 7. Biden's labor coalition splinters. Though it is a low bar, Joe Biden can rightfully claim to be the most pro-union president in 3 generations. The AFL-CIO endorsed him for re-election earlier than ever, hoping to keep that ball rolling. Unfortunately, it isn't so simple. Biden crushed the railroad strike in December of 2022, puncturing his pink cloud on the labor left. His policy towards Israel and Gaza has enraged even more of the left and has prompted a number of unions to push for a ceasefire. On the right, his big happy coalition is going to be sniped by union Trump supporters in 2024. His ability to take labor for granted as a solid power base, in other words, is going to be threatened, and he has no one to blame but himself. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. The one thing I could say in here that's not fair is the statement that Biden crushed the railroad strike in December of 2022. The reason I say that that's not fair is because Biden actually had one of the, I don't have the article in front of me and I don't remember the name, but he had the labor leaders pick the majority of the coalition that was put together to make the decision of what the final contract was going to look like. And those labor leaders decided to place on their professional negotiators who were more than willing to sacrifice certain demands that the workers had, that the workers did not want to have sacrificed. And that's what caused the strike in December 2022 to not go the way of the workers. It wasn't necessarily Biden. It was bad appointments by the labor presidents who were involved. Let's go on to number 8. First contracts in limbo. Each passing month makes it increasingly clear that the excitement of winning union drives at landmark companies like Amazon and Starbucks and other national chains must be tempered by the grim realization that these companies are never going to negotiate first contracts with their workers unless they are forced to. Until unions can pull off strikes big enough to really hurt these giants, that means on a practical level that the federal government and the NLRB must apply inescapable pressure to make those contracts happen. Without a Democrat in the White House, expect to see those workers continue to languish without contracts for a truly shocking amount of time. Again, direct action is the best way, because it's the only way that you make the owners feel it. You take away your labor, you take away their profits, and they know that. And the longer that you can make them feel it, the better the chances of negotiating a fair contract. Number 9, more big strikes. The past year saw major strikes by the Writers Guild of America and the Actors Union SAG-AFTRA. That effectively shut down Hollywood, as well as the UAW strike that shut down the U.S. auto industry. High-profile strikes like these are good for the union members in question, both for the sake of winning better contracts and as proof that the appetite to fight is strong. But they are also great advertisements for organized labor's power in general. Expect to see members of other unions think back on those big wins in the coming year as they decide how hard they are willing to fight. With major contracts expiring in 2024 for postal workers, longshore workers, entertainment workers, and others, you can expect at least a few of those to push to the picket lines. I love to see labor action because it is inspiring, and it does inform that's the way to win the most that you can win, is to withhold your labor. It's the only power you have. Number 10, you organize your workplace. You, the abstract median American, do not have a union. I guess this with confidence because only 1 in 10 American workers is a union member today. Remember I told y'all 10%? There's good news though. You can have a union. You can reach out to the AFL-CIO or to the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee and get in touch with a union organizer. Hell, you can reach out to me if you can't find anyone to talk to. With the help of that organizer, and propelled by your burning desire for justice on the job, and fueled by the inspiration you have accrued by watching the bright spots of the labor movement roll on in recent years, you can pull together an organizing committee and get your coworkers to sign union cards and win an election and get certified and start bargaining a contract. I know you can. Furthermore, I predict here in writing that you will. This is your year to join the labor movement. Yes, it is. Don't make me a liar. I love number 10. I think it's valuable. And I hope you are inspired to organize your workplace. The labor movement has a golden opportunity to redirect wages and profit portions to the working people. You know, there was a transfer of wealth since 1950 from the bottom 99 to the top 1% to the tune of $50 trillion. Labor in America right now has a golden opportunity to make that transfer of wealth flow back in the direction of the 99% from the 1%. We have a golden opportunity if we are willing to be bold, demand our worth, be aggressive in our approach, be smart in our tactics, and share solidarity with each other. It will take all of us. No man, no woman, no sibling can afford to lay out of this fight. This is our moment, and we'll see what happens. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember, the fight isn't left and right. It's up and down, and it's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one, and remember there can be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.